We are there.
Oh, now it says it.
We'll be hanging out waiting for the ladies to come on, like I do every Sunday morning with small talk, but now I'll have you.
Yes, small talk's my thing.
There you go. We are here.
And now with
So, good
my job, I
morning.
do a lot of small talk, getting to know you with
Yeah, let me
people.
type in good morning, ladies. So, as they come on, morning, Paula. How are you? All right, Paula is watching. Good to see you, Miss Paula. Ladies, say good morning as you come on so I can give you a shout out. Tia, good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome to Coffee Talk this morning, ladies. Sylvia, it's been a while. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Angela, it's always good to see you. Good morning. Ladies, thank you so much for getting up this morning. Megan is hanging out with me this morning. Crystal, good to see you. Good morning. Thanks for joining. All right, ladies. Megan, give a shout out to the ladies as we hang out and give them time to come on.
Yeah, I can't see because you have to make me a co-host so I can't see any of the messages in the chat.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Yeah. So if you go into participants and then just make me a co-host.
I don't know if I can do that now because if I do, I may screw it up.
No, you'll be fine. So just you see where participant list on the bottom there?
No, because I'm actually looking at Facebook.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Let me
Sorry,
just,
guys. I won't be able to see any direct messages because I'm in.
if I screw this up, Megan,
No,
you
no, don't screw it up. Don't do it. It's fine. I just wanted to acknowledge that I don't see any other comments.
okay? So you're telling me, see, I just left my Facebook, which I may have screwed up already
Why are you doing it? Stop.
because
It's
now
not important. I was just acknowledging the fact that I don't see the chat.
I don't know how to go back to it. So
Click on your internet, whatever you use for your internet button. It'll take you.
yeah, but I was in Facebook. Now
Yeah, that'll take you to the Facebook.
no, I'm not there anymore. All right,
Oh no,
no,
Eva.
we're gonna keep going, but I did. See, I was there, and when you told me to do that, I tried to do it. Now I'm not in Facebook, so
So everyone that's on this that's friends with you knows you're so stubborn. Said it's okay. Don't look.
yeah, but I want to be able to see. See, now I can't see the comments. Damn.
Run your cursor along. You have a Mac, right?
No, I got rid of the Mac.
Oh,
Okay, so ladies, I'm sorry. Megan, this is your fault. Okay,
I
I'm
have
back.
witnesses.
Okay, I'm back. Forget it.
I, don't,
I'm
I
not
said
gonna
don't
do
do
it
it.
again. No, I'm not doing it. Oh, okay. Paula's asking questions. Crystal's telling me I'm still there. Good morning. Ubong, Cheryl, good morning. How are you? Megan is hanging out with me this morning. Megan, you can't see the comments. I can, so I'll just share with you. But I am not doing what I just did a few minutes. Paula wants to know how was my Black Friday and Small Business Saturday? She's asking the question. So, ladies, remember as you come on, say good morning so that I will know you're there and I can give you a shout out. It's good to see you, good to be seen. All right. So, we have our guest this morning, Megan. Megan, we're just going to jump and just get started so that I don't keep the ladies too long this morning. So, ladies, welcome to Coffee Talk. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. You know, I do not take your time for granted. I truly appreciate you. Hope everyone had a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. And now we are prepared to get to the end of the year. So I'd like to first and foremost welcome my guest, Megan Farry. Good morning, Megan. Megan is also a certified life coach, and she's a very good friend of mine. Good morning, Megan. Welcome
Morning.
to Coffee Talk.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
Oh, glad to have you here. So, ladies, last week I talked about a positive future and how to prepare for taking that positive energy into 2021. And at the end of Coffee Talk, Megan and I had a conversation for, I guess, about 45 minutes. And we just talked about 2020 and some of the challenges and how do you move forward in 2021. So I thought I'd invite her to just have a conversation today about how to move forward with positive energy in 2021. Because one of the things that we realize, 2020 has been a challenging year for so many of us. So going into 2021, we're going in from a place that we've never been before. So with that, Megan, I'm just going to ask you just to jump in and kind of give us your perspective for a minute, and then we'll just have some general conversation about it. How to move forward in 2021.
Thanks, Eva. Well, I mean, the conversation really started because you were challenging all of us that were listening to write a list of all of the things that had happened in the last year and circle the things that we wanted to bring into the next year and cross out the things that we didn't. And, I was thinking about that list and started becoming like really overwhelmed by how much had happened in this last year that I just the conversation really evolved in the fact that we need to acknowledge that this is not a normal year where we write these checklists and we say we're going to do these things. Like the thing, every time we get to this time of the year, we start thinking like what do we want to do next year, kind of a thing. But I think it's really important for everybody, all of us, to really be patient with ourselves and think about how traumatic this year has really been. Um, we've really fit a decade of trauma in about 12 months here. And um, that is true of everyone that I know. I mean, some people are handling it better than others, but I think writing a list and really thinking over the last 12 months what's happened could be really overwhelming if we don't be patient with ourselves and really think about and be honest about how hard it's really been.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of that too is just really being honest with yourself and admitting about, in some cases, how much stress we've been under.
Yes.
Because in the past, a lot of us have lived busy, busy lives to the extent that we didn't even have to deal with ourselves, right? So now, because of this virus, we've been on shutdown, some of us. So we've really had to take a look at ourselves and deal with some of the issues that we may have been suppressing because we were living such busy, busy lives.
100%. And I
Yeah,
think, it's funny because as coaches, when we do our marketing for this, a lot of it, well, I'll speak for myself. A lot of the people that come to us that want to do the one-to-one coaching are people that are in some sort of traumatic, I'm going to keep using that word trauma because I think it's like an important one, but some sort of life stalling thing, like either it's a divorce or a job loss or something that's forced them to have to change direction or reevaluate. And this is now happening on a mass level, right? It's not just one person that's going through one particular hard time in their life. This is now everybody's in a place where they're like, what the heck am I going to do next? Like, where am I going next? But on the plus side of this, because I know I'm making this sound so negative, it's also like a huge invitation. Is that one of the things that's so hard for people to change their life around is that everything else is staying the same and they're trying to grow. We're at a
right,
stage now that everybody has got an opportunity to do it differently, from our personal lives, our personal relationships, how our country is run, how we treat our environment. Like there's so many things right now that are on the table for improvement. Um, so that's like a really exciting part of it. But I just think that thinking through everything that's happened is so important because we're going to sell ourselves short if we don't recognize the hard things that we went through and acknowledge that there's room for improvement on all levels for it.
so you just said something that this is an opportunity for us to really look at how we're living and how we can do it differently.
Yeah. Because what was working or, what we thought was working is not working. I mean, that conversation, the whole new normal, and like what I want to get back to normal. I want to get back, like, what is normal? Like, do you want to just get back to the way you used to feel, or do you want to feel better?
Yeah,
My sign. This sign is here all the time. For all my work meetings and stuff too. This is my setup because in my job too, like we're trying to help people think differently and do systems change around, education and training. But better is possible. Like if we're going to redo this and get back to a normal, let's do it better. And what is that going to look like? What does it mean to do it better?
yeah, that's true. And we talked about that with during one of our coffee talk conversations about getting back to the new normal. And that's exactly what we talked about. Do you really want to go back to the way things were, or do you want to make it better? But one of the other things too, in order to do it differently, you really have to be in touch with how do you feel and be honest with yourself.
100%. And
Yeah.
acknowledge the things that really weren't working and how that made you feel.
Yeah. And that means for so many people stepping out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to be honest with yourself and acknowledge how you feel, you have to go beyond that comfort zone, or you have to really go within. And that's so uncomfortable for a lot of people, to the extent that some folks may start the year off 2021 from that place of status quo, or
Yeah.
going back to that place prior to the virus.
So that is definitely, I mean, that's one of the skills you do when you're working with someone one-on-one, is that they're resisting some suggestion of change or perspective change on how to do something. And you ask, because not doing anything is also a choice, right? So
Right.
you're choosing to say that this is okay and I'm going to keep going for it. So like that list that you're writing out of the things that happened this year, some of the things you might say that's okay. Like I'm okay with how I feel about that and it can stay the same. But you have to be honest with yourself around that. Like, are you okay with this to, bring it into the next year?
Right.
There's, and then you make that choice and then you own that choice too. I think, I'm sure everybody on this call has a friend or a person in their life that is like a go, go, go person that never, uh, they fill their time with stuff or traveling and whatever, they never give themselves time to just like sit and be.
Right.
And this whole lockdown, quarantining thing has been so challenging for them because there's nothing worse than having to be with yourself when you're trying to avoid everything else. So I mean, I've seen it drive some of my, people in my lives like into a deeper depression because they have a really hard time being with themselves and their thoughts and their experiences. Um, but I think people that have been starting to do the work, I think I could speak to you and I would speak for myself too. Like, I'm so thankful that I've sort of went to that dark place a few years ago because I have skills now that really help me in situations like this. Um, it's not that it makes it so much easier and then I'm totally checked out from life, but like if I hadn't done that, I think I would be in a much darker, that concept of loneliness would be much stronger in me, but I really like being alone now.
Well, because if you hadn't done the work before, especially now because of COVID, and if you're just starting to, you're starting from a different place because now you're kind of forced to be by yourself. So
Right.
at the time that we did the work, and I say we because, we kind of started on this journey together through coaching. So at the time that we did the work, it was a different time.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't forced to be by ourselves. We did it because this is something was part of our evolution. This was part of our growth.
Right. But I totally agree, and I'm so thankful for it. But on the opposite side of that is that we had to convince other people around us that this was what we were doing, and it was a harder sell for people to be like, I left my job, I moved into a new city, I didn't know anybody. Those were really hard things to explain to people that were so rigid in their lifestyle, and now there's an opportunity here for people that might have been afraid to rock the boat in their lives, like that. People are going to get it now. You're not going to have to sell the point that you're doing this. They're going to be like, okay, I get it, we just lived through a global pandemic, and you know I get why you want to do it differently.
Well, that goes back to stepping out of your comfort zone because that's what we did.
Right. Right, but it's now it's an invitation that, in my perspective, being on the other side of it, which I know is different than people that are just starting it, is still scary. But I get excited for people to have the opportunity to do it now and do it in a community of other people that want to do this right now too.
Right.
That's why you and I are such good friends, is because we were there together in the trenches.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
think, there's so many people longing to do it differently.
Right. Because when you think about it, and we talked about this the other day too, um, if you want life to show up different for you, then you have to show up different.
Yes. That's one of the mantras,
Right.
right? I know we talked about everybody going to contribute their mantras, and that's for sure one of them. It was, if you want different results, you got to do different things.
Yeah.
And uh, my other one is, which I'm going to just paraphrase, but it's the Eckhart Tolle one, where it's like, how do you know this is the experience you need? Because it's the experience you're having.
Yeah.
So, and all of us are having this right now. It's a global invitation for us to stop, look at what we're doing as a culture, as a community, in our own lives. Um, it's whether we take that invitation or not, whether we say, okay, well, that I don't care. I'm just going to go back to the way things were. Or we say, okay, well, there's clearly something being told to us here that we should address.
Right. But see, that's something I don't know. It's so important and so critical as to what you just said, to stop culture, community, but to realize too that we are part of it, and our decisions and choices,
Mm-hmm.
contribute. Because um, let's just, for instance, prior to 20, prior to COVID, a lot of us were functioning and doing things, but we weren't necessarily conscious of the fact of how we are or were contributing to society. But now we know, and not to get into politics, but even, politically, racially,
Yeah.
the decisions and choices that we make makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. That when you know better, you do better. And then,
Yeah,
I think what 2020 has really shown is that there's no ignoring it. Did you know better now? Like, do you know how you are and how you've been, and what decisions do you want to make differently moving forward?
yeah,
And that's, it's just so true on all levels. And, God, I hope that, all of us hope that this vaccine works and that it'll, once people start feeling safe again, life is going to move up to 150 miles per hour.
right.
Everybody that is in this slowed state is going to go crazy, myself maybe included, a lot of it going out and really wanting to live life because you feel like you've been suppressed the last year. um,
Right.
but what's the gas that's you're going to put in your tank there? Like, what direction are you going to move once you start moving 150 miles an hour again? Are we just going to ignore everything that we learned, or are we going to say, no, I'm going to put these parameters? I know you're what's your vision? If you once life starts up again, like, what do you want it to look like?
Yeah.
And if
And
you
now,
don't do it consciously now, you will
right.
not do it, because you will just go back into an unconscious state the way you were before this happened, and life will happen to you instead of for you. And until something else comes up that stops your life again, a trauma or a tragedy, or, a loss or something. And then you have to say, I lost all of this time between this gap of when I had an invitation to change and this moment where I'm still struggling with the same stuff I was struggling with then. And then you have to, you know, feel like you lost that time to grow.
Yeah, for sure. So when you think about 2020, a lot of us, you know, we've had ups and downs, trials and tribulations. And this is what I talked about last week: accomplishments, learnings, challenges, love, happiness, sadness. We started some things, gave up on some things, we finished some things, and all the emotions and the experience of this year. But when you really think about 2020, one positive way to look at 2020 is that it provided a time for us to stop, to reflect, and to think about how we want to do things differently going forward.
100%. And this will be in our lives, you know, to this year will be the year that we always remember where we were and what was happening.
Right.
And we might not necessarily, like all of us, can't remember details of the things that happened, but we remember how we felt.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we just kind of sum up this conversation. So as we prepare, so go back to where I started last week and even today, as we prepare to end this year and to move into 2021 with positive energy, one of the first things that we said was be patient with yourself. All right. So as you start making your list, look at really um, look at all of the challenges, the ups and downs, the goods, the positive and the negatives that you experienced in 2020. And then start thinking about what positive energy do you want to bring into 2021? What do you want to change? What do you want to do differently? What do you want 2021 to look like? Because you get to decide what you want 2021 to look like.
Can I add in to a piece of that invitation? Is
Sure.
that when you look at that, when you look at the negative stuff, take a minute and think about what you learned from that experience and like what, because I think that for me in this exercise of doing this is that going through this negative thing has shown a real light on something that is true for me. And that is a positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you look at a negative, like a breakup of a relationship, but what did it teach me? You know, taught me, you know, that how important independence is, how important, you know, those types of things. And then it helps articulate a little bit about what is true for what you want more of
Yeah.
and why it wasn't, you know, for me at least.
Well, that's true because everything we go through, I think, is just preparation to take us to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can always sit and think about the negatives, but if you're really going to challenge yourself and you want to grow and continue to evolve, you have to think about what are the learnings and how am I going to use these learnings to take me to that next level.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now everybody on this call knows why we have 45-minute conversations after.
Yeah, that's what we do. Talk after the
No, we could talk like this all day.
Yeah. So be patient with yourself and think about how you've been functioning prior to COVID and think about how do you want to function going forward. Are you one of these people that's been functioning on autopilot, being busy, 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 just filling your time and your days? Or do you want to do things differently? And acknowledge if you're stepping outside of your comfort zone as you go forward. And what does that mean to you? What does that look like to you? And
And
acknowledge it. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll say, get help. If you have a hard time acknowledging that or knowing what your comfort zone is, I'm a coach, but I'm obviously here to talk about Eva's wonderful coaching as well. But this is something that's heavy and it could be difficult to do on your own. And if you don't have the right skills to help you guide through that, like look, hire Eva or find someone
Yeah.
in your, someone in your circle that you feel comfortable with. But I think that this is a real opportunity for people to do the work.
Yeah.
And if you don't know where to start, get help from somebody that does.
And that's and the people that's on this call that know me, that's been following me, I'll be the first one to tell you, and I tell you all the time, I was an emotional prisoner. I was holding myself hostage.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what freedom looked like until I started to do the work, and it was very difficult. But because I was able to do the work, tap into the person within, I'm able to sit here and have these conversations today. Yep. And just as you go forward, think about how do you want this year to be, 2021 to be different? What do you want to look like? What do you want it to look like? And acknowledge your emotions, whatever they may be. That's what Megan just said. Just acknowledge them, because that's where it all begins. Because if you're going to shut down and not acknowledge them, then you're going to probably be in the same place that you are right now. Because that's where the growth starts. Yeah. So, Megan, as we wrap up, any last words?
Uh, no, I guess my, coming out of this conversation is a reminder that I need to do all of this for myself. Again, whenever we have these conversations, it's easy to say, it's harder to do, and all of us need to do, there's no magic bullet. It's work for everybody, and so that's what I think my Sunday is going to look like.
Yeah.
Thinking
And I
about
started to work on my list as well.
yeah.
You know, um, what 2020 was like for me,
Mhm.
writing down and what I want to leave in 2020, what I want to bring forward as it relates to a positive future and energy in 2021. But real quickly, can we just talk about meditation for a minute, Megan?
Sure.
Some people maybe have never meditated, or maybe you've used this time to start meditating, but it's really a way to just focus on the person within, and just be with yourself. There's an old saying, if you can't be with yourself, what make you think someone else wants to be with you?
It's true.
you know? So maybe you can give a meditation from your perspective. Why is it so important?
I think you really acknowledge that is that the quieting of the mind is the most powerful thing that you can do and the biggest gift that you can give yourself, to recognize that you are not your thoughts, that you have the power to be in any situation and be centered in it. Um, I always love that. I think it was, I don't know who said, Cory Booker, I think said it, but like, do you want to be the thermometer or the thermostat? Like, are you going to react to every situation that you're in? Or are you going to set the temperature of the space you want to be in? And that's how I always think of meditation, is that when you're the thermostat, you can set where you want to be, and anything that comes into your life, you'll be able to control how you react to it. Um, I'm so thankful that I've spent the time to figure out how to do it. I don't religiously meditate the way I did for a few years ago, because it's really hard to start. But when you know how to do it, you always know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I know that, a lot of people feel like prayer is something similar to it, and I agree with it. But there is a skill of being able to recognize you're not your thoughts and be able to just be still in any moment.
Yeah. And now is a great time. If you're not used to meditating, now is a great time to start.
Yeah. And there's so many resources. Literally, Google it. There's so many guided meditations. Insight Timer's free. Headspace has a free app that you can do it to get started with it. And it is a huge gift for yourself. So thank you for bringing it up, because I definitely think. And then everybody who's successful, if anybody's watched anybody, everybody that you respect and has had some major success in their life will say that they meditate.
Yeah. Because to your point, it's just a quieting of the mind.
Everybody that you respect.
Yes. That's me trying to look at all the comments. So, Megan, thank you so much for getting up this morning and joining us. I really appreciate it. But ladies, I just wanted to be able to continue the conversation that we had last week, to give you something to think about as you prepare to move into 2021. Really spend some time acknowledging what you experienced this year, the ups and the downs, the good and the bads, and celebrating. And when you think of 2021, think of it um, as a year of positive change, because it really forced you to reflect and think about how you want to start living your life differently. So as we move into next year, spend some time thinking about what you want 2021 to look like, because remember, you get to decide, and then start building it. But be to thy own self, be true. So that is coffee talk. Just a couple of things I want to comment on. Let me just look at comments. Megan, just so you know, I'm reading the comments because you can't see them. Crystal said, yes, this year to reflect was the best thing I needed most.
Right.
All right, Crystal. And she said she also felt like she also felt every possible emotion in 2020. The good
Mhm.
thing is, Crystal, you allowed yourself to feel. That's awesome. And Paula said the new administration is building back better. So the other thing, ladies, and I mentioned this before, be careful of your words, because if you go around saying, I can't wait for things to get back to normal, then guess what? Things will get back to
Oh
things
no.
back to normal, or do you want things to be better, life to be better? Okay.
It's possible.
Yeah. So really quickly before I let you go, a couple of things. The Black Friday special ends, exclusive, I should say, ends is posted, and that it's a reduced individual coaching package along with 3-for-1 special, which is 2 workshops: Witness the Most Powerful You, um, and the Beyond the Vision Board, plus a signed copy of Inspirations for the Soul. So it ends today. I'm posting it here. It's a great way. They're great resources. If you need help, the individual coaching package and or the personal development tools in both of the workshops will definitely help you take the steps to move forward. Um, and if you want to be a guest, let me know, because you know I'm always looking for a guest to be on Coffee Talk. So, and if again, the last thing, if you know other women that would appreciate the message, you can always add them to the group. Otherwise, they won't be able to hear it. So that is Coffee Talk this morning, ladies. Thank you again, Megan, for getting up and joining me this morning. I truly appreciate it. Ladies, thank you for getting up and joining me as well. Hope you have a wonderful day. Have a great Sunday. Have a great week. And I will see you back here next Sunday for Coffee Talk. Love and blessings to you and your family. Love you much. Thank you for joining me. Bye.